As evening fell, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us go across to the other side of the lake." So they got into a boat and began their journey across the water. The sky was calm, and the wind was gentle at first. Jesus, tired from teaching the crowds all day, lay down in the back of the boat and fell fast asleep. As they sailed farther from the shore, the weather began to change. Dark, ominous clouds gathered in the sky. The gentle breeze turned into a howling wind, and huge waves started to crash violently against the boat. Soon, the small vessel was being tossed from side to side by the furious storm. Water poured over the sides, filling the boat and threatening to pull them under. The disciples, many of whom were experienced fishermen, were terrified. They had faced storms before, but this was different. This was a storm that felt like the end. The waves were mountainous, the wind was a deafening roar, and the boat felt like it could break apart at any second. And in the middle of all this chaos, Jesus was still asleep. Fear completely gripped their hearts. They stumbled through the rising water to where Jesus was and cried out, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Their voices were choked with panic and sheer desperation. Jesus woke up. He stood calmly in the rocking boat and looked at the raging storm. Then he spoke with an authority that no human could ever command. He said, "Peace, be still." And immediately the wind died down. The churning waves settled. The water became as smooth as glass, as if the storm had never even existed. A profound silence fell over the lake, broken only by the disciples' stunned gasps. They stared in absolute amazement. The same storm that had them fearing for their lives had obeyed the voice of Jesus. Then Jesus turned to them and asked, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" The disciples were filled with a new kind of fear, a deep and reverent awe. They whispered to one another, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." This moment changed them forever. They began to understand that Jesus was not just a great teacher. He was the Lord over all of creation itself. The storm that threatened their lives was completely under his control. This story reminds us that storms will come into our own lives. Storms of fear, loss, and uncertainty can feel just as overwhelming, but just like he was in the boat, Jesus is with us through the chaos. When he speaks peace into our situations, even the greatest storms must obey. No matter how loud the storm in your life may be, his voice is always greater. Thanks for watching. If this story encouraged you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. See you next time.